What's up, everybody? I'm Meghan Ziemba, host of Mavens of Manufacturing, and I'm still hanging out here at the NPE Plastics Show in Orlando, Florida. And I'm so excited because I'm sitting here with Chloe Linsmeier. She is an active FLIP member and also the marketing manager for Advanced Blending Solutions. Chloe, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Megan?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me today. So is this your first plastic show, or have
No, this is my third. I feel like a veteran now.
Oh, okay.
So I started with Advanced Blending Solutions in 2015, and I was able to come to NPE in 2015.
Okay.
So third one, going strong. We're having a great show.
Awesome. That's great. Well, before we met each other, we actually chatted over email, and
Yes.
you mentioned that you're committed to educating the youth on the importance of plastics and recycling. So can you kind of share some of your initiatives or programs you and your company have implemented to achieve this goal and what impact you've seen so far?
Yes, definitely. So part of FLIP, I'm part of the Community Impact Task Group.
Okay.
So what we did was we did a waste cleanup as Plastics Industry Association as a whole.
Okay.
And then we did a cleanup champion initiative after that, and I brought it back to my company and they were more than thrilled to be a part of it. So we planned a waste cleanup for our community, and we brought the kids in to our facility. That was last May. Hosted them for a tour. We're able to explain, plastics is important. It's something that we see every single day, whether we know it or not. It's around us everywhere, and it helps keep us safe, keeps our food safe. Great benefits of it. But this year we're actually planning it for next Tuesday when I get back. So we're doing a waste cleanup, having the presentation, hosting the kids for some lunch, and just trying to get them involved and understand what plastics is. We've also hosted the SPE Plastivan at 2 of our local high schools, and the kids loved it. They were so engaged, so I highly recommend anybody reach out to Eve Vitale at SPE to get involved in the Plastivan.
What are their general reactions then? Like, what sort of questions do they come up with when they're getting involved with some of these programs and doing like the cleanup and stuff?
I think they're really shocked to see how big the plastic supply chain is. For us as equipment manufacturers, they didn't even know that that's what we did or that we even existed in our community. So they ask a lot of questions around the manufacturing side of things.
Yeah.
What does this do? What's the process? And I've shown them videos of a blown film line, so our blenders sit on there and they're like, wow, this is really big.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of really excitement around it.
I like that you mentioned that they didn't know you existed, and you're taking those initiatives to really connect with your community, because that's like very common around
Yes.
the United States. There's some communities where they don't even know manufacturing is happening
Yes.
in their backyard. With the women's leadership within the plastics industry gaining momentum, as a female leader yourself, what sort of strategies or initiatives do you believe are essential in promoting and supporting women's leadership within the plastics industry?
So I just attended the NPE Women in Plastics breakfast yesterday, and I was shocked at how many women are actually in plastics. It was really endearing to see. So I think events such as those are really important to help encourage women to. We're not alone in this industry. I remember when I first started, I was 21 years old, 22, and I was surrounded by men everywhere I went, and it was really intimidating.
Right.
The older I got, the easier it became, but when I finally started to meet other women, it made me feel less alone. And I think that's really important in getting more women to come into the industry, is by women leaders like ourselves speaking up about this is something that you can do. It's not just a man's job. It's really welcoming to find somebody else, see somebody, be able to have a conversation about your kids, about hobbies that we like, and not feel out of place. You don't have to sit there and listen to a conversation about football or something that I'm not interested in, and try to be like, okay. So it's just really nice to have some camaraderie in the industry as well.
Is there specific things that Advanced Blending Solutions is doing to kind of support your women employees and like their career trajectory? Because one of the stats that I've read, 1 in 4 leaders in manufacturing is a woman. So yes, we're gaining momentum, but we're still like having that issue of climbing the ladder.
Yes.
So are there specific things your company does to really like support?
I'm really fortunate where I work for a company where I am supported as a woman.
Yeah.
I'm given a lot of opportunity. They trust me, but we still are a large male-dominated company. We do have a very large after-sales role that's all women, so that's really nice. And she is a leader, the after-sales manager. Built this department from the ground to 6 people. So they trusted her too to build that department, and she's brought in wonderful younger women, middle-aged women, and she's formed a great team.
That's awesome.
So I'm one of the lucky ones, because not everybody is so lucky.
Yeah. With the older generation phasing out of the industry, there's a growing need to encourage younger generations to join. How is Advanced Blending Solutions addressing this challenge, and what do you think are the key factors in attracting and retaining young talent in the plastics industry?
I'm part of Flip, so that is really important to our industry as a whole, but at Advanced Blending Solutions, that was one of the main reasons why we did the waste cleanup, to get those younger kids in our area, in our community, that are going to be welders for us. You show some interest in our community. Hey, we're here. We want to support our youth. It's our future. So we get really involved in our local community to build that. As far as like engineers, our company is young. All of our engineers are young. The president of our company is actually, he's going to kill me if I get his age wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's 29. So,
wow.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
We're a family-owned company, so his father founded the company in 2009, and he was president and CEO, and he passed the president title down to his son 2 years ago. So we have that young presence, and even people stopping by the booth this week, they're like, wow, you guys are all pretty young. So
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Because it shows that like we're not your grandfather's
Yes.
manufacturing. So I think it's really cool that you have that representation, because I think there's just so many misconceptions, not just around plastics, but manufacturing as a whole. So
yeah, he's super supportive, and having him as a younger leader, it's easier for me to communicate with him because he understands a lot of things. Our VP of manufacturing is in his mid-30s, and he is just like freaky smart.
Yeah.
So he gets all of the technology behind manufacturing as well, which helps elevate our production facilities, our process, everything. So we really support youth. I mean,
That's awesome.
On multiple levels.
So with the cleanup program that you mentioned before, what's the age range for the kids that you're working with?
I left it up to the principal, but they are typically 9th through 12th grade.
Oh, okay.
So it's a small group, 13 kids that are in a welding CTE course for 2 hours of the day.
Okay.
And he chooses them because of their manufacturing. You know, they're looking to weld or be in a production facility, so they're a good fit for us.
Gotcha. Are you doing anything at like the elementary level? Like, are you going to the schools?
We haven't yet. Okay. I know that the Plastivan hosts for elementary level, middle school, and high school level students, but we've stuck with the high school just because it's a little more fitting for us to get the presence and have them understand it a little more, because it is kind of a complicated process.
Yeah. I always ask that question because I have a 5 and 6 year old, like I mentioned before, and they have like firefighters and police officers coming into school. So now my kids are like, I want to be this and I want to be that. And I'm like, man, if they could just bring in some of the manufacturing, then I think that conversation would be a little bit different.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree.
So one of the things too is mentorship. Like I think that's really highly important, especially for other women who want to get involved with the male-dominated industry. So what do you believe is the role for mentorship and networking for fostering career growth, particularly for women? Are there any specific programs or networks that you recommend outside of Flip? Because you mentioned that before,
Yes.
and we've talked about that with other women here
Yes.
today. What sort of other like mentorship programs or?
I haven't participated in any other mentorship programs other than the ones through Flip, but I know a lot of pseudo mentors, I guess. You know, they're friends of mine, older gentlemen, a lot of them, and they're on my side, on my team. So the networking goes hand in hand with that. I've met them through the industry, going to events, going to conferences like this, trade shows, events, and I've met so many people and have so many contacts that I can call if I have questions about plastics, my career growth, a personal problem. The plastics industry is just a really nurturing and like, we're all a big family. Everybody knows everybody, it's friendly.
Everybody's super friendly.
Yes,
That's
yes.
one of the main differences I noticed.
Yes.
I'm used to like automation and CNC shows, and I'm like, they're kind of grouchy in here, like a little bit. So very
That's funny.
here.
Yeah, no, it's really nice and welcoming. I've always been super shy, and that was one thing that I was nervous about coming to events when I was younger. Was meeting people, and now it's one of my favorite things to do.
So let's talk about that, because I'm naturally an introvert too.
Yes.
And like coming to like when I got here first, I was just like completely
Overwhelmed. Yeah.
And then I met Hannah, and she kind of calmed my nerves down a little bit. And then Tony from Alliance introduced himself and like was really welcoming.
Yeah.
And that like really helped. So
Yes.
for first timers or anybody new within plastics industry who might be a little afraid to kind of like reach out, what sort of advice would you give them to like be more comfortable to network?
Oh, that's a tough one, because the inner self is hard to calm down. Just be yourself. Like we said, everybody is so friendly. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. Nobody's going to think it's a stupid question. You'll be really surprised at how many people are willing to help you and guide you and educate you in this industry. Just this week I had a customer of ours say, I want to get you involved in TAPI, which is another association. I'm not quite familiar with it yet, but he was like, you would be great for that. Thank you. So, I mean, there's people, vendors, partners, other employees that are constantly trying to help and grow this industry and the youth. And I think everybody in the plastics industry as a whole is really supportive of my generation and the generation below me.
Well, we need the work
Yes.
for sure. One of the other things, and I talked about this with Tanya from Husky, is, you know, plastics kind of faces criticism regarding environmental impact. So how does Advanced Blending Solutions balance promoting the industry's benefits while also addressing concerns about sustainability and environmental responsibility, especially when engaging the younger generations? Because Gen Z is like known for like, how's it affecting the environment? Like, who is it going to hurt? What sort of value is it going to bring? So how are you kind of balancing that?
That's one of the reasons why we host the waste cleanup also, is to educate the youth. And even in our community, we just received recycling, curbside recycling. So now that we have it, I want to educate the kids, like, hey, this is what you need to look for. Because it is a confusing process still. And I think everybody in the plastics industry knows that, but we have to do the best that we can to educate everybody, every generation, to figure out how to recycle it. There's the How to Recycle program, and it's a website, and it shows, you know, the little symbols and everything and the numbers that are on. But it's funny because my husband and my daughter now are constantly like, can this be recycled? Can this be recycled? And they're like, it says it can be recycled here. And so it's kind of fun for them now.
Yeah.
And I found that my trash actually has diminished immensely. I'm filling up my bin of recycling more than I'm filling up my garbage bin that they come. So Advanced Blending Solutions is a manufacturing company. So we don't have a giant presence in the sustainability aspect of it, but we did join the Sustainable Packaging Coalition last June or July to kind of learn a little bit more on the topic of it and how we can help and benefit that area of plastics.
I think that's good though as a company and showing that you're really trying to be friendly with everyone in the community.
And our equipment is sustainable equipment.
Okay.
It promotes the loss of, reducing the loss of resin. I'm like, that does not make sense, but it's really efficient and accurate, so there's reduced waste from our equipment.
Okay.
So
in your experience, what are some misconceptions that you've heard from younger generations about working in the plastic industries? And I know that you've talked about this with the waste cleanup, but are there other things that you're doing to debunk those misconceptions? Because I was talking to Tanya about this, and I was like, when I think of plastics, it's always that turtle with the straw.
Yes,
I was. Or it's always the pop rings around something's neck, or the plastic nets that you see, like fishermen.
Yes.
So what are some of the misconceptions or concerns that students have pointed out specifically to you, if any?
Just they don't understand that plastics is important and that we need to take the responsibility as humans and adults and individuals to make sure that stays out of the environment. It's do the right thing, throw it in the garbage, don't litter. They haven't specifically asked a whole lot of questions, but the straw that's everything. I remember when that first started, my daughter was like, but the turtle! And she wanted the paper straws, but now we're like, we don't like paper straws in our house because it doesn't taste the same.
Right.
The water, so.
Well, and Tanya too was explaining the processes of how to make the different materials.
Yeah.
And how more energy gets put into some of those other materials versus plastic.
Right.
Which I didn't know about. And I was like, that's really interesting. I never thought about it that way.
As a whole, the plastics value chain needs to do a better job at educating the rest of the public. And I think Plastics Industry Association and Matt Seaholm have been doing a great job at that.
Well, Chloe, I want to thank you so much for coming today and joining me, because I know you're probably jam-packed with trade show stuff, but before I let you go, I want to ask you if you have a question for our audience. So what would your biggest ask be for anyone tuning in?
Oh man, that's a tough one, Megan. Put me on the spot. What can the plastics industry do to better inform the community, the world as a whole? Where can we be better? Where can we be better?
I love that. I think one of the answers is definitely promoting this more, because I was unaware, and I've talked to other first-time attendees here. They're like, we didn't even know this show existed.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
I talked to another gentleman, and he goes, man, we were missing the mark. We've never come to this show, and there's so many opportunities.
The best show, for sure.
So awesome. Well, Chloe, thanks again. I really appreciate it. For anyone tuning in, again, if you haven't been to NPE Plastics, it is a must-see show. So make sure you're making plans for 2027, because that's when it will come again here in Orlando. I'm Meghan Ziemba. This has been Chloe, and this has been another great conversation here at the Plastics Show. See you guys soon. Bye, everyone.